Blog Talk Radio. Hi, and welcome to Conscious Talk Radio, and I'm your host, Linda Summers, and we've got a great show for you today. Our topic is Becoming Spiritually Self-Reliant with Nichola Sherlock. And before we bring her on board, I'd like to give you a little bit of background information about her. Well, first of all, she's calling from Ireland, so that's so cool. We thank her so much for that. And she is a qualified life coach, eating disorder therapist, nutritional therapist, suicide first aider, Reiki master, and integrated energy therapist. She started sitting in a developmental circle with mediums when she was told at the age of 25 that she was a medium and a healer. Nichola is called the angelic rebel because she is prone to being naughty and rebellious, but has a good heart and loves anything angels and being as angelic as she can be to create light and healing on the planet. And with that, I'd like to welcome Nichola to the show. Hi.
Hi. Thank you. That was such a beautiful introduction. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for joining us all the way from Ireland. So it's such a pleasure to connect with you.
Oh, it's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Oh, you're welcome, and I love that just being a medium. I mean, I always thought, gosh, it would be so cool to do that, although I've been told, you know, that everybody can really do that. But yes. I'm not really sure if that...
Yes. Yeah, we all have the ability, and it's actually a lot easier than we think it is. It's actually very simple. You just need to be open, and you just want to be able to do it. And it can take time, it can take practice to develop, but once you just start trusting yourself and the process and what you're receiving, it's become second nature after a while.
I
think that when we're born into the earth, we all have, you know, you see children when they're very little kind of looking at things above them and laughing and pointing, and it's as though they can see things very clearly, like they're still very connected to the spiritual plane as their bodies are incarnating slowly over the first 7 years. And then you kind of lose it around that stage. But some children retain it, still see things, feel things. They're like natural born mediums. And then with others, it takes maybe a spiritual awakening later on in life for that to open again.
Right.
There's
so many we know.
Yeah.
So many great leaders have had that. Eckhart Tolle was one of them. I'm sure there's a lot more that have really had that awakening as well. Well, we are going to talk about the heart links, clearing blocks, and clairvoyance. So we are going to talk about that. But really where I kind of wanted to go was the title. I really love the title, Becoming Spiritually Self-Reliant. What do you mean by that?
Okay, well, spiritually self-reliant is something that I know I'm striving to achieve. I don't do it perfectly yet, but it's my goal, it's my mission.
Are you there? Nichola?
Hi, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm here.
You are.
Sorry. Okay. I actually muted it with my cheek on the phone. I have to hold it out a bit. Oh. Okay, so I'll just start that bit again.
The thing with these smartphones, exactly.
Yeah, so you're not very smart, are they? For our sense of well-being, spiritual self-reliance, it's essential. Okay, so because it helps us stand on our own 2 feet, dependent upon ourselves and God, and safe in the knowledge that we have and are everything that we need to be. You know, so we're exercising confidence in our own power and our own judgment.
Wow, I like that. Well, and you know, because it's we have so much judgment on ourselves, and we know it's an inside job that we always have to go within and do the work within. But I do feel that we do need outside assistance, some guidance sometime as to where you kind of come in and helping us along this journey, because if people that are listening, which we have a variety of people that are even just starting out or they don't even know what spirituality is, and so possibly listening, so it's really good to have some sort of guidance in that. So I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
and
you
I couldn't
talk about
live without my faith.
Oh, well, you know what? I mean, spirituality is what has saved me through my whole journey in my life.
Absolutely.
Just this yearning and going inside
Yes.
and doing the work and realizing there's work to be, well, I wouldn't say work to be done, but just really realizing itself, a lot of different things. So it is.
And I love the way it comes into your life. It appears as a lifeline. So like you can imagine a rope being brought down for you to hold on to and grab onto when you're in darkness. That's usually when spirituality comes to rescue us in some way.
Wow, I love that. Well,
I know that was certainly true in my case. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so this kind of leads us into the angelic realm, and you had talked about heart links, and you were going to show us how to open our hearts to the angelic realm and receive love and healing.
Yes.
Would love that.
And it's so simple to do. And if you spend a couple of minutes every day doing it, it just brings you so much peace. Because obviously when you think of angels, you just feel peace. And you feel love, and you feel harmony. And I know angels exist because I actually did see one standing over my bed one night. A beautiful male angel. I was feeling really sad, and I just was drawn to look up and to open my eyes, and there was a male angel stood by the side of my bed. And the halo, the wings, the hair, the white robe, everything was as we see it in the pictures and things. And I just blinked in disbelief, and then he vanished. But I absolutely know from that experience that angels really are there with us. They really do exist.
Yeah. Wow.
And a lovely way to be able to connect with them is through this Hlink exercise that I learned when I was doing integrated energy therapy. And it's really simple. So you're just imagining that your heart is filling up with love and light and gratitude. And you can imagine like there's this, it's kind of golden if you can see the colour, or green, because green is the colour of the heart chakra. Mm-hmm. And then just allow that feeling just to fill and fill and fill your heart. And then it starts to come out of your heart as a beam of light that goes up to your throat, and then up to your third eye, then to your crown, and up through the crown, and up it goes to the angelic realm. And I usually see kind of Archangel Raphael up there because he's the angel of healing. So as you're just sending up that beam of light, just send up all your love and all the gratitude that you possibly can up to the angels. And then they actually send it back down to you 10 times stronger than what you were able to send up. So you just then accept all that love coming back down from the angels and back into your heart. And let that just fill you with peace and calm. And then when you might get somebody who comes into your mind's eye or who needs some healing. So then you can imagine just sending out that beam of light from your heart to the heart of that person that comes to your mind. Or you can send it out into the world somewhere where you know that they need healing. Mm-hmm. And I always ask that if it's not right for that person to receive that love, that it goes to somewhere else where it will be received, because I never just like to assume anything on anybody when I'm doing healing work. Mm-hmm. So I just end with the intention that if it's not received... Sorry?
Even if it's love?
Yeah, even if it's love. Some may not want it. You can't just assume that they're going to want to accept it. They may not be able to let it in for some reason. So I just ask them that it's just gently sent somewhere else where it will be received and where someone is open. But actually, I haven't met anyone yet turn it away.
Right,
right. We all need love, don't we? I mean, it's just we're made of it. We need it, and it's so subtle and gentle. It's very non-invasive. Mm-hmm. It feels nice, doesn't it? And then if you put your thumb and your third finger together on each hand, it's like the subconscious then automatically remembers that. So you only have to put the thumb and your third finger together, and that heart link is automatically created.
Oh, wow. Oh, I love that.
So I always do that, and then I just put the palms of my hands onto my legs.
So it's the third, it's the ring thumb?
It's the middle finger with your thumb and on both hands.
Okay. Oh, okay, awesome. Well, you have such a very soothing voice and very like a very loving voice. So it's it's really felt, and so that really kind of helps as well. You've got someone who's really taking their time in guiding someone through this. So anybody that's listening, this would be a really good time. You know, not now or well even now, but going back and listening to this show and really, you know, feeling into that because doing it when you were doing that, I felt a lot of emotion.
Yes. And you also felt a lot of peace. I could feel, I could really feel that your energy was really receiving, like you're very open. And I see the Hlink as this kind of pink, almost sparkly light coming down. It's just beautiful. It really is beautiful. And if you were to do that 2 to 3 times a day, if you feel a little bit out of sorts or you need some recharging, your energy is feeling a bit low, or if you just want to tune in to the angels and say hello, send me some love, and that's what you do. A couple of minutes a day, and it does make a difference. And when I do my sessions with my clients, I always do a grounding exercise first, and then I always do the Hlink. And then I know that the energy that's coming through is really sacred and loving.
And it seems, you know, what I just heard too was they're so eager to help.
Yes.
You know, they're just waiting for the moment of us asking, and it really. Now that's something else I wanted to ask you that I have heard that we have to ask the angels. They will not encroach upon us because we have free will.
Absolutely, and that's again kind of ties into what I was saying about. Not assuming that somebody wants to receive your energy because it's all about permission. So a person would really need to give permission first, and then you consent. And the angels will be the same as well. And they can be around you and they can be showing you that they're around, but they won't encroach upon you. But they'll give you signs. So you may see lots of feathers around your feet, or you may be thinking of somebody and they ring you. You know, we all know this one, don't we? Or you hear a song on the radio that reminds you of somebody you're just thinking about. So little things like that. There's lots of signs. A robin is something that comes to me a lot if I'm in the process of having to make changes in my life. A robin will always appear until those changes, that change cycle is complete. And people might see butterflies or rainbows. There are things like that. There's so many signs showing us that the angels are near. But no, they won't assume themselves on us at all.
I love that. It's so interesting. Well, and you know, we talked about the next.
Sorry. I was just going to say, it's actually really easy to ask for help. All you have to do is just send a thought up, say, I'm open, I'm ready to receive your help. Please help me. Thank you. That's all you have to do. It's really simple.
I'm open, I'm ready.
Yeah, please help me.
Please help me, okay.
I'm open to receive. Yeah, I mean, whatever comes, whatever thoughts naturally come, it's just very simple. You just say, dear angels, I would really love your presence in my life today. I really need some help. Can you guide me? Can you talk to me? Whatever comes, it's just a very natural, just as if you were talking to a friend kind of conversation, really.
Perfect. Yeah, I was just going to say, because a lot of people that are listening, if they're familiar of, like, how do I do, you know, what should I say? Is there a way to say it? That, you know, we all get so caught up in this, there has to be a specific way of saying it. You know what I mean? And I think what you're saying, it's really coming from the heart. It's really, like you said, I love that idea of, it's just like if you were, you know, wanting to hear from your best friend, or, you know, that you really needed that person's help or something, you're asking the angels. And so that's where your space you're coming from.
I think we can tend to overcomplicate things. And it's the spirit world is actually, it's not like we're separate, we're all one, we're all connected. And it's so easy to communicate and to talk and to receive. And we tend to think that it isn't, but it actually is. We just tend to overcomplicate it in our own minds. For all sorts of reasons. People can be blocked, they can be scared of it as well. Especially if you're a child, it can be quite scary, I know.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, speaking
we're all part of the same thing.
of, would you say that would they do the clearing of the blocks first before they do the heart links? Because you're going to also lead us through a block dissolving exercise. Would it be beneficial to do that first before they do the heart link?
No,
or does it really matter?
It depends. If I'm working with a client or someone wants to do a block dissolving exercise themselves, I would say heart link first. Because you just want to connect to something sacred and loving before you start. Like, I don't start any work unless I've done the grounding exercise and I've done the heart link. And I've called in angels and guides and God and source energy. Now, I think that's always really important before you do any spiritual work. I wouldn't do it without it, personally.
And that makes sense. You want to really have your heart open, right, to be able to receive and be able to clear the blocks. That does make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it, exactly.
Can you lead us through a block dissolving so the listeners have an idea of how to dissolve these blocks?
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
love that.
So, when I'm working with a client, then I receive a lot of information, like clairvoyantly, clairaudiently, through my senses and things. So I'm not doing that here like I would do in a session, but what I can do is show you how to release your own blocks energetically. Okay?
Well, and
so
before
what
we
I
get
would
started,
do first, go on.
I was going to say, can we kind of give the listeners an idea when we talk about blocks?
Yeah.
Like someone being stuck in their stuff, or can you kind of give us just a little bit of like what you mean by a block, so if anybody that's listening that kind of has an idea.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so they can show up as in many different ways, but you'll know when you're blocked because you just don't feel right. You don't feel aligned. You can feel depressed. You can feel lethargic, exhausted. You might have addictions. You just know you're blocked because you know that you're not moving forward in the way that you would like. And they can show up as pressure, tightness, heaviness. You can feel restricted. You might have unpleasant emotions or thoughts. You might feel stuck. And you can feel it in your body as well as you can feel it emotionally and spiritually and mentally as well. Like some people might feel like they've got a lid on top of their head, or like a glass ceiling, or they might feel like they've got a brick wall in front of them they just can't get over or around. And we have great sessions, great journeys dissolving these blocks together, and it can be really magical. Really, really magical. I love that side of my work. And you can learn to lighten yourself from your own blocks and release them as well using your imagination. So this is where your third eye starts to get activated. That's your imagination. You know when you see things in your mind's eye with your imagination? That's your clairvoyance. Right.
Wow, I didn't even put that together, two and two together. I mean, I know the third eye, but I didn't realize it would be. I just figured the mind was imagination.
Yeah, and that's your clairvoyance, because you start to see things as if they're on a screen. So it's almost like your forehead becomes a screen, and you're seeing inside your head on the inside of your forehead. It's the only way I can describe it, really. Or you might see things. Sometimes you can see things like with your physical eyes as well that are like ahead of you, that you know aren't real. You know, they're not. You're seeing them with your physical eyes, but they're not physical things. But most of the imagination happens with your third eye. Kids are very good at it naturally.
Wow. Now, would you say about the opening the third eye and doing that exercise before you're clearing the blocks, or does it matter?
It kind of happens. It's hand in hand. It's with it, really, because you would start to see maybe some images coming into your mind. Not everybody does. Some people would be more kinesthetic, so they would feel things more, which is more clairsentience. Some people are more auditory, so they would hear things more, which is more clairaudience. So there's no right or wrong in this. So it's whatever works. And the idea is you just keep it simple, and you just keep practicing. So if you try to clear a block and you can't see anything or feel anything, then that's okay. You just leave it and come back to it, because you don't want to get stressed over it or something, because some people just need to take a little bit of extra time to develop. these skills.
Right. Now, in dissolving the exercise, because we started to talk a little bit about that, but can you go over that just a little bit? I mean, because I know that the exercise that you do with your clients is much different than you can do over the phone, so you just actually more explained it than actually doing like an exercise. Okay.
So what would you like me to tell you or show you?
Well, I mean, I guess in dissolving, so it's really our imagination that's dissolving the block.
Mhm. Yeah, you use your imagination. Yeah. It's that simple.
Got it.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah, it really is.
Like you could be blowing it up with whatever, or taking a bulldozer
and. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And there's no right and wrong, and it's amazing what can show up. Absolutely amazing. I had a client last night, and I was pulling. 2 dolphins came down. We started the session. I just saw 2 dolphins come down to her. One was by her heart chakra, and the other one was by her throat chakra. And we had to talk about some of the stuff that was in there. And then I was pulling energy out. I could see like they were scarves that were tied together. Like a magician when he pulls scarves out of his mouth. And I said, does that resonate with you? And she said, well, yes, actually, because all my troubles are tied together. So that was very symbolic of that. And then different things that happened that came up were all very, very relevant. But you might see a volcano, you might see a glass ceiling, you could see a dragon. It's just there's no end to what can actually present itself, and it's fun. It can actually be very magical and very fun. It's quite an adventure to do this when you really start getting into it. It can sometimes be like a 3D animated movie going on. It's incredible. There's so much magic out there. I just love it.
And you mentioned magical, and and I know in our description you talk about taking open-hearted women on magical journeys of self-discovery. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I love that idea of this magical journey.
Yes. If you imagine, the way I'm seeing it right now is if you're a little child and you're put in front of a movie, and you're there and you've got the screen and the movie is starting, and that movie takes you on a magical journey. If you watch these animated films, they can be like that in nature. It really depends on the client that I'm with, how open they are to it. Like, they'll never be given more than they can deal with. So for some people, it isn't like that at all. Other times, I've ended up kind of inside people's stomachs with them, like an Indiana Jones kind of movie scene. It's really incredible. It just starts and it just goes into this beautiful journey, but it's always incredibly sacred. It's very light. It's all done in love, and it's all done very protected with the angels and source energy as well. So it's very safe, and it will always. The result is you come out into the light always. So it's just about going and healing deep parts of yourself that need to be expressed in a magical way. So rather than sitting with a therapist and talking for an hour every week or something, this is just as powerful, if not more, because you're actually clearing the energy, and it's just done in such a lovely way that it has really transformative effects. Really, and I just love doing it so much. The women that I'm meeting are incredible. And it's just such an honour to do this work with them. And it's just, I love the spirit world because it's just so amazing. And we can really get caught on this. I think the energy down here is quite dense and we can get quite stuck. And when we bring in a little bit of magic into our lives, it just brings us so much joy and happiness. And, I see people making really big changes with their lives after the sessions.
That was my next question I was going to ask you. So do people actually feel like that there's this heavy burden or something that's been lifted from them, or,
Yeah, absolutely. Or they're aligned to themselves again in a way they weren't before. So, and their path becomes clearer. They are more confident. They know who they are. They've been receiving messages through me from spirit. And sometimes we meet deceased loved ones as well. We'll do cord cutting if that shows itself as being necessary. That happens in most of the sessions, actually. Some cord cutting will need to happen. Yeah, and it's like we're always holding on to the surface that we're like, oh, holy moly, that's amazing. It still blows me away. It still blows me away, and I know it works. I know that it works because of what the ladies tell me afterwards.
Well, what I find so wonderful about you as well is that you're still in amazement. It's not like, that's that happens all the time. It's like so. And if you being amazed, still, it's like, wow, that's so incredible that you're in that and the excitement.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a normal day for me now. These things when I'm working, it's like a normal working day, but it still blows me away. I mean, there's nothing more incredible than the universe. There just isn't. Yeah. It's just incredible once we start to harness the powers. I'll tell you a story of something. When I was, I was pregnant with my first child. I was 31. And I didn't know if I was pregnant. And I just said to the universe, can you please give me a sign if I'm pregnant? Let me know. And I went for a walk with my dog. I returned home, sat on my sofa, and there on the floor, guess what was on the floor? You'll never guess.
One of those testing, pregnancy test things.
No, there were a pair of baby socks.
Oh my gosh, that's even better.
Yeah, a pair of baby socks on the floor, and the house was locked when I went out. A pair of baby socks, and I was pregnant.
Oh my god!
Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? It really. I know I've told some people that story. They're just like, no, Nichola, no. I'm like, yeah, but that actually really did happen, and that really did happen. And this is it. Things can literally just manifest out of thin air. I've seen it. It's amazing. So I'm blown away constantly by the universe and things that can happen for us once we're open. Oh my God, yes, absolutely.
Oh,
and I want to think, this is. I know. We lost one of them, but we've still got one half of the pair. My daughter has it in a little box. I'll tell her that story.
Absolutely. Well, what's one thing? Because what's one thing that you can share with the listeners that has helped you on your journey that you can let us know? One gem.
Well, the first word that comes to mind for me is faith. Like having a really, really strong faith and trust in a higher power. Remember the rope, it's like an oxygen mask as well at the same time as being a rope. I couldn't walk this earthly plane without it. And I would just say, just be open and look around and see what signs that you're getting in your life, what's falling down around you to get you to open up your eyes to see the beauty of the world and the magic that can actually be there. We get so caught up in our jobs and in our bills and parenting and all those things that we have to do that we just get disconnected from our true selves, and we lose that sense of purpose and sense of magic that we're all destined or born to have. It's our birthright, and the universe wants us to have it. So I would say just keep your eyes open, look for signs, and have a faith. If you haven't got a faith yet, try and start to develop one. It's like a spiritual scaffold around you. It keeps you up. And go to healers if you can, if you're open to that. Let people work with your energy to clear it and stuff. And surrounding yourself also with good, positive people, kind people. That's really important. And two other things that are really important one is gratitude. And the other is committing random acts of kindness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are two things that I find so important because you never know how much a random act of kindness can affect someone's life. For one person, it could actually change the entire course of their life.
Absolutely. So wonderful. Thank you so much, Nichola. We just appreciate you being on the show and gifting us with your gifts that you have in guiding us through this heart link and helping us with the clearing those blocks and the clairvoyance and helping with our imagination. Thank you so much. Just really a lot of gratitude to you.
Well, gratitude to you for letting me use my voice tonight. I haven't told you how to do a block dissolving exercise. You must do that as well before we finish.
Okay. You want to do that really quick before I let the listeners know?
Yeah, how much time do you have?
Well, we're really pretty much out of time, but how much time do you think you'll need?
I've got 3 minutes.
I don't know if we have 3 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, what you do basically is just ground yourself. Imagine roots around your ankles that's going deep into the earth. It's securing you to earth, saying, draw up energy from the earth up through the roots into your feet. You'll feel your feet going tingly, and then bring that energy up into your body, okay? So you're secured and anchored. Do your heart link. Imagine the palms of your hands are tingling with energy, and these are like magnets, okay? So it's all right if you're just imagining. That's all you need to do, but try and feel the sensation if you can, and start to feel an area in your body where the energy blockage is. And then just imagine your hands as magnets pulling or lifting the block out of your body. And don't judge it. It's perfectly okay as it is. And then put this block in front of you and then feel neutral about it. Don't judge it, like I said. And then you can start to just look at it and it's away from you, so it actually has less power over you. And then imagine you're now reaching towards it with your hand and start to rotate it, just back and forward, nice and gently. So if you're seeing a brick wall, for example, you can just imagine that it's slowly going from left to right. And then you just start to bring it round into a full circle, and you can just start to spin it. And as it spins, it just starts to dissolve and melts away. And you can just say the affirmation, I am now free.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you again for being on the show. Thank you for all the listeners out there.
It's been such a pleasure.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you for all the listeners who joined us today and the ones who will be joining us via YouTube watching this video. We thank you so much. Please follow, subscribe, comment, and like us. And you can join me next week, the 5th of November, for the next show, Cosmic Family Reunion with Jessie Webb. And so, again, thank you, Nichola, so much for gifting us with all of this today. Such a pleasure.
God bless you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.